A president doesn't get to choose global conflicts, but he must choose how to deal with them. And in our third story in the countdown, today, for the first time since his election, President Barack Obama inserted himself directly into Middle East peace negotiations. The ultimate goal, an Israeli-Palestinian two-state solution that remains a distant dream. On the same day as Mr. Obama's first appearance at the United Nations General Assembly as president, he tried to restart negotiations on the most intractable problem of our time, the Israeli-Palestinian peace process. President Obama held bilateral meetings at the Waldorf Astoria Hotel in New York today with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and with Palestinian Prime Minister Mahmoud Abbas. The president then brought those two leaders together for a trilateral meeting that began with handshakes all around, as well as a new sense of urgency from the president.
Simply put, it is past time to talk about starting negotiations. It is time to move forward. It is time to show the flexibility and common sense and sense of compromise that's necessary to achieve our goals. Permanent status negotiations must begin and begin soon. We cannot continue the same pattern of taking tentative steps forward and then stepping back. Success depends on all sides acting with a sense of urgency.
President Obama also directed his Secretary of State, Hillary Clinton, and the Special Envoy to the region, George Mitchell, to meet again with Israeli and Palestinian negotiators next week. Mr. Mitchell had just returned to Washington after a week of shuttle diplomacy that had produced little from either side. President Obama has asked Secretary Clinton to report on the status of the new negotiations in mid-October. Let's bring in the former National Security Council Director for Iran and the Persian Gulf, Hilary Mann Leverett. Thanks for your time tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Now, was this just a photo op at the Waldorf today, or was this a real restart of the process?
I think this was more than a photo op. I think this was the power of Obama, his compelling rhetoric, his strategic use of symbols, the media, communication. This was the power of Obama to try to bring people forward, bring them together. I think it was a good start. That said, though, there are serious flaws in the strategy and the policy that I think may prevent President Obama from really achieving an Israeli-Palestinian and a broader Arab-Israeli settlement.
Now, the president's been criticized for taking on too much too soon. Why is the president pushing this perennial problem that no one's ever made real progress on? While he's got health care reform in front of him, he has to deal with troop levels in Afghanistan and other urgent issues. Why now on this one?
Well, I think that President Obama does really understand the Middle East. I think he studied it in college. I think he really does understand it. And there have been moments of progress, some real achievements in Arab-Israeli peace in our history. The cardinal rule, though, in Arab-Israeli peacemaking to really make progress is that a president must engage the Palestinians and Israelis, the Arabs and Israelis, in serious negotiations in his first year, maybe first year and a half. Because if he doesn't do it then, the American political calendar takes over. First with the midterm congressional elections, which for Obama will be 2010, and then the presidential re-election in 2012. Those elections, that American political calendar, will overwhelm and paralyze any Arab-Israeli process if it's not already in a serious state of negotiations in the first year.
And is there any reason to believe that President Obama can actually achieve headway here where his predecessors have failed?
Well, not unless he has a serious, coherent strategy to achieve a settlement. And here I think he does have some significant problems, both on the Israeli side and on the Arab side. First, on the Israeli side, his focus on settlements, while important, has only been enough to really annoy the Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu and to alienate a very large swath of the Israeli public. There's a poll out today, this morning, that says only 4%, that's 4, not 40, 4% of Israelis think that Obama is a friend of Israel. The Israelis, I think, by and large, have been alienated by the settlement policy, but Obama hasn't done enough on settlements to achieve a breakthrough. Similarly, on the Arab side, the Obama administration, I think, has had a misplaced focus on Arab states, particularly Saudi Arabia, trying to get them to front-load concessions or gestures to the Israelis, which aren't going to happen. Instead, they should be focused on the Palestinians, on making sure that they're dealing with the Palestinians who control territory and have popular support so that they can get about the business of actually creating a Palestinian state.
And dealing with the Palestinians is far more complicated than shaking Mahmoud Abbas's hand. He doesn't actually represent effectively all of the players that need to be controlled on that side of this conflict, does he?
That's absolutely correct. This is a major flaw in the policy. We are only talking to one representative of the Palestinians. He only controls part of the territory in the West Bank. Hamas, the other Palestinian political movement of significance, controls the entirety of territory in the Gaza Strip and controls the popular sentiment support of a lot of Palestinians in both the West Bank and Gaza. Without a policy where we have Hamas at the table, it is doomed to failure to really bring about a Palestinian state.
Hilary Mann Leverett, former staffer for the National Security Council, thanks for your time tonight.
Thank you very much.